I can't be positive. And any conversation implies civility is like you, then live where you work now. So I just don't answer. When I find in chat rooms, for example, I answer. But I refuse to see. Because I don't know what a universal algorithm how to communicate now with those with whom you were friends or worked before the war. The first time I longed for the manic meetings and conversations. I need clarification, how to live, if almost your whole life is ruined. But my friends have gone away and those who remained here were in that position, read my life short dashes, where to find money, how to live without a salary, where to buy medicine, cook without money. From those who stayed in Lugansk, I hardly could find some help or explanation. And then there were several, we cried a lot the first 2 years after the summer of 2014. Even if the meeting happened accidentally in transport or in the market. Someone began, do you remember? Tears flowed involuntarily from both. And stood somewhere in the store with baskets in the middle of the crowd and cried together the same loss. No one complained about life. It was also a common feature of these conversations, to speak only about what is relevant now. After a time of seeking answers and some understanding my past, began a new phase. I started to avoid meetings. Any colleagues from the past called me, I will be in Lugansk, only 2 of the day came for my things. Let's go see. I first came up with something about business, and then just start to ignore these invitations. Because such return to the past and not return to the past, and only increase the pain. Every conversation began with a look into the past. A former colleague told me how he was doing, as looking for work, changing housing, adapted. It was mandatory to have questions about how we live in Lugansk. And here again is the paradox, if I told the truth about all the difficulties of our modern life, it looked like I was complaining, but if I told you that all is well, it was like, we all just adapt to circumstances, and we are completely indifferent to what is now power. One of his colleagues during a casual meeting said about someone of our mutual friends who stayed in Lugansk, he always was a communist. Like this is some common feature among those who chose their home Lugansk. I felt that about my stories it will also say who I always was like and all that live all the time in Lugansk. It turned out that during such meetings we called a regret, I tried to prove that we're good now, like it's some kind of exam. My new perception of myself was suffering. All my family saw that my environment has been narrowed only to family. I have deleted all. Those who particularly insisted on the meetings, I was ignored. I ceased to be friends for the sake, how often do we all? I stopped responding to polite letters to friends from an old life and no welcome. I've seen this problem, but I was better. Only those who could in this strange state of my new life, narrowed to culture novolux, to find a compromise and fellowship with me, receive answers to their questions. The platform for communication in the new format was only in the present. Where to buy a piano? How to restore Skype? How are you now? No comebacks like, do you remember how in the Crimea, we almost missed the train and fled a stop to things? Or remember when we went last night with a rock concert in May 2014? I know they all remember it as well as I, and they, too painful these returns, like me. So I'm asking about what is happening just now, and they communicate with me as if we did not have any experience. About the trivial things, no time and effort, and about my new mental state of complete social exclusion hardly anyone understood. Although I noticed that like me in my environment is not so little. Those who avoids any memories, allusions to past or offers to sit and remember something for a bottle of wine. They feel the risk of a return to the past, they are hiding like a snail in its shell. Life only in the present tense.